Okay, I've got a question. What do a set of handwritten letters, a new song by Lisa Loeb, and the Battle of the Bubbies have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2022's Hanukkah on Rye, and we've got a lot to talk about, Jennifer.
We do, Josh, and we'll unwrap it all in this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
If you like holiday movies from the classics to newbies, let's sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh. Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Hi, friends, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Josh. Jennifer, have you ever been to a Jewish deli, like in New York City or anything?
I sadly don't think I have, or if I was in one, I wasn't aware of the Jewish owners and
Yes,
history.
I
How
know.
about you?
And not so much. I mean, in Nashville, we do have the Noshville Deli, which sort of
I
has
have been
some,
there.
yeah, and they have some things on the menu that are what you typically find in a traditional Jewish deli, but I've not certainly done that New York City Jewish deli thing. And after watching this movie, I want to go back to New York City just to go to a Jewish deli. I don't know about you.
You just got back.
I know.
Just boomerang yourself back. Yes, I was definitely like, how much would it cost Postmates to deliver me some authentic Jewish deli food from New York? Don't
Because
I have a
on
promo
top,
code or something?
something, because on top of a good movie, we get so much good looking food in this one that I think it just really sells the whole concept of a family run Jewish deli.
It does, and I feel like my diet the past week has been 90% cheese. Like that's all I've had. I've had various forms of cheese, shredded, sliced. Got a big old cheese wheel from a client at work. I mean, just all the cheeses all the time, and that's great. But I probably need some protein or like some meat, some
There you go.
sandwiches thrown
Or
in.
some latkes, some potato pancakes, something. I mean, we've
I
got
don't think I've ever had a
options.
latke. Have you?
I have. They're delicious.
Oh,
Life
they look
changing,
good.
I might say. Yeah,
Oh, it's a high bar right there. Yeah,
it
I
is.
definitely was hungry watching this movie. So here we go. Let's talk about it. The IMDb synopsis is: Can a Hanukkah miracle keep fresh couple Molly and Jacob together after they realize that they are actually competing delicatessen owners?
And I feel like of
What did you
all the
think? You drafted this one.
I did. I was very high on it. And I feel like the IMDb summary of this one, perhaps more than any other movie we've reviewed so far this season, really undersold the plot here. It just
Hmm.
didn't really go into what this movie is really all about, which is sort of family connection and tradition and competing
Heritage and
business and
yeah, all that.
heritage and all of that sort of stuff. So, that being said, I think we've got a fair amount of stuff to talk about.
Let's get into it.
So, curtain up on Gilbert's Deli, which seems like a classic New York City deli, and Molly is learning how to make egg creams with limited success, according to her bubby Ruth, who is just a delight throughout this entire movie. Turns out
Mhm.
that Molly is in line to take over the deli, which is facing some financial trouble. I thought from the very first scenes, Jennifer, I liked Molly. What did you think? Did you like her out of
I
the
liked
gate?
Molly a lot, and I don't believe we've seen her in any other movies, or at least I have not. But I really liked her. I liked her character, but I also like the actress, so I want to
Yeah,
see her in more. This is a gold star of approval from me.
totally agree. Not to, show my cards early, but I thought she was great. Cut
Yeah.
to the left coast, and Jake is chatting with his family about opening what's called Zimmer's Deli, a new outpost of Zimmer's Deli in New York City. So they want to move the deli to New York City, open a new location there.
Coast to
They're pretty
coast.
bummed. Yes, they are pretty bummed that he won't be there for the first night of Hanukkah, and even more bummed that he wants to remove the poutine from the menu. His bubby isn't having it. So there you have it. So
Have you ever
early
had
on,
poutine?
I have. It is
I have as well.
pretty great.
It's
Yeah.
everything you want. It's just like a hug.
Yeah. So just to give you the context here, so you've got these two deli concepts. One is very sort of traditional Jewish family. That's Molly's family. And then you've got that plus some other stuff on the menu. That's Jake's. And that becomes
Mm,
sort of the conflict here throughout.
of course.
Molly's family is getting set for the first night of Hanukkah. back in New York City. They load her up with leftovers wrapped in foil swans yet again, which I thought was just hilarious. Mom, you know,
She opens the fridge and it's just wall to wall foil swans.
there were a number of sight gags throughout this movie that I just thought were really clever and really funny. I
They
LOL'd a
were. It
couple of
wasn't
times.
slapstick like some of the other funny movies, but it was genuinely funny, I thought. There were a lot of LOL moments for me.
I thought so too. Jacob's Bubby and Molly's Bubby both put the pressure on for them to find love. We cut back and forth to basically the same conversation that both of these kids are having with their grandmoms. They've been signed up, it turns up, for the same matchmaking service in New York City. They're both hesitant,
Hmm.
but it's already been paid for, and whoopsie, the matchmaker has already found each of their matches. There you have
Hmm.
it.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Cut to a woman
Because
named.
she has, I'm sorry, it's find
No,
your
you're good.
shirt guarantee, and that means soulmate, 100% success record, no apps, and no Insta book.
There you go. And she looks hilarious. So we cut to Rose, this woman who's the matchmaker, and she's looking at a folder in a really old timey kind of Harry Potter looking office. And the folder has Jake on one side of it and Molly on the other. And she just smiles knowingly, like she knows it's all going to come together. So,
Hmm.
which is really cute. She's a cute
A little bit of
character for sure.
magic, a little bit of
Little bit of
Hanukkah magic
magic.
there.
Yes, indeed. Cut to Gilbert's, and Molly has instructions to write letters using an alias in what sounds like a really endearing tradition. It makes me wonder if this is actually how they do it. I suspect that it is because everything else seems very true to form here to the Jewish tradition. So
Hmm.
I thought it was great. Jacob is trying to write his letter because the boy is supposed to go first. And he is really struggling because he thinks he sounds like a total dweeb. I totally agree in some of his early attempts.
Yes.
He decides he needs to take a break and he goes for a walk. And what do you know? He runs into Molly on the sidewalk where she is passing out numbers for those waiting in line at Gilbert's for latkes. He puts his foot in his mouth, talking smack about the latkes there, not realizing that she's part of the family that owns the deli. Whoops.
Yeah, he thought the deli looked a little run down, and he's like,
Hmm.
"Why was there that big of a line? Why is it so popular?" Boy,
Oy.
whoops.
Oy vey, indeed. Yeah. Cut to the menorah lighting that night, and Bubby puts the pressure on Jacob to mail his first letter. So he lights the menorah at home and decides to write a much more personal, dare I say it, funnier note. And it turns out that Molly gets it and she returns with an equally honest letter, which he reads and starts smiling instantly. It's cute. I mean, really cute here, as is the fact that whoopsie doo, they live in the exact same building. And we get this funny moment where the courier picks up one letter, gets the address for where he's supposed to deliver it, and it's the exact same building. So, kind of a little funny gag there, too.
Yeah, how much is Mazansky's matchmaking cost that there are couriers wandering around town to and fro to deliver these things?
Well, not
That
only
must be a
that,
pretty penny.
but the stationery box, the custom pen, the custom envelope, the whole nine yards. It looks like it's a pretty substantial investment, but I mean, when you're talking about your soulmate, probably worth
You
some
can't put a
money.
price on love.
Right. This ain't eHarmony here. No,
No.
this is more sophisticated. This is
Mhm.
beyond the algorithm, dare I say.
True.
Yeah. So Molly shows up to the deli and everyone there, wink, 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 knows that she got the very first letter because this family is talking about her love life, of course, behind the scenes. And she tells them she
They're very
wrote
involved.
back, very involved, but cutely so, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was not it was not offensive. It was actually kind of endearing.
It could have
And
gotten
so,
annoying really quick, but it didn't.
oh, yeah, absolutely. She pitches the idea of a Hanukkah songwriting contest, which sounds like a lot of fun because they joke that there's really only two Hanukkah songs. And I thought, actually, they're right. I can't think
Yeah.
of any other Hanukkah
That was a funny
songs.
gag.
I
Yes.
know, yeah. So Jacob checks out the space for his new restaurant that they're going to open there, and he gets some real talk about the viability of a Jewish deli from the realtor who's like, it's not going to work because the one we've got, Gilbert's, is struggling financially, yada, yada, yada. Jacob shows up to Gilbert's for the menorah lighting and the songwriting contest. They are really cute together, and the family loads Jacob up with all kinds of great Jewish food, including house-made ranch dressing, which, if I couldn't like this couple enough, their affinity for house-made ranch dressing made me just go over the moon even further for them as a couple.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do agree with that. If you can find a place with good ranch, I'm all in. Sign me up.
I'm all in. Exactly.
And
And
they
I
had a
wrote,
corned beef sandwich that they brined for 5 weeks.
I
The
know
commitment.
the commit
I don't do anything
exactly.
for 5 weeks.
No, exactly. I write in my notes, I desperately want to find this deli the next time I'm in New York City. So I
Mhm.
hope it's out there somewhere, Gilbert's. I'm coming for you.
Listeners, if you know of
This,
one, let us know.
please do, yes. The songwriting contest at Gilbert's is totally full of laughs. And then, what do you know? Here comes Lisa Loeb. She shows up with a guitar and sings what I think will easily become a new Hanukkah classic. It's a great song, I write. It's actually a great song, and everyone in the crowd loves it, and she wins latkes for the rest of the year. And I thought this was a great cameo because not only did she sing a song, but she had a comedic moment where they load her up with an armful of trays of latkes for the rest of the Hanukkah
Just to
season.
try to carry them all out.
I just thought it was
She's
really
in,
funny.
she's out, easy breezy. Yeah.
Easy breezy. Thank you, Lisa Loeb, for your commitment to artistic integrity. I mean, it was great. We are at Gilbert still when Jake runs into an old friend who blows his cover. I thought this was a pretty early plot twist that they were revealing that
Yeah, you
he,
knew it was coming, but
yeah,
you didn't know when because
I didn't know it was
obviously
going to be
Molly
this
does not
early.
know that Jake is looking for a place to open his competing delicatessen. So
Exactly.
it doesn't go over well.
It does not. She is understandably mad and maybe even madder when he discloses, I should say, that he hasn't seen Fiddler on the Roof. She says to him, "Are you sure you're even Jewish?"
That's funny.
Which I laughed at.
Which, to be fair, I have not seen Fiddler on the Roof, but there was an
Oh,
episode of Gilmore Girls where they acted out Fiddler on the Roof, and I've seen that. So I've seen like a hit.
it's good. Yeah. He
You
finds
looked
a
disgusted at me just now.
well, I grew up with a mom who loved small town theater, so I saw every single one of these classics that are out there. So there you
Love
have
it.
it. He finds a heads up penny and he writes another note to Beth. And so Beth, by the way, is the pseudonym that Molly is using during this process. Jake is using the pseudonym David. So the matchmaker wants them to use fake names until they get the chance to meet
Which
each
makes
other.
sense with the because otherwise they would just Google each other and
Mm-hmm.
know
Totally.
exactly who they were talking to. Yeah.
We're back at Gilbert's. She wonders if they need to change things up to try to get some younger customers in the deli. Jacob shows up at the menorah lighting where Molly is advertising a jelly donut class for the kiddos. So we get a fun montage there, which I don't know. I would take that class in a heartbeat. I would love to make a
What's
great
so
jelly
fun?
donut.
Forget Sir La
So,
Table. Tell me how to do a jelly donut.
please, any day of the
Yeah.
week. She spots him peering through the window and suspects that he is spying on her. And she angrily shoves a jelly donut in his face. And he has to admit, it's a great donut.
Yeah.
I laugh. They swap letters, and it's clear they're falling for each other. So in real life, they're kind of spitting and spatting at each other, but behind the scenes in these letters, they're falling in love with each other's souls. And it's just like, oh, it's really cute, I thought.
The stars are aligning.
Stars are aligning. Yep. He hears her drop off her next letter and he puts it all together, and he is totally conflicted about what to do because of course they live in the same building. She drops it off, I should say, with the doorman, and he's right there and he overhears the whole thing. It's just, oh, I felt bad for a
Yeah. When does
minute.
he make this reveal to let her know that
Hmm.
he is the little pen pal matchmaker guy?
Hmm. We're back at Gilbert's, and Jacob shows up to get some time with her. The family makes sure it happens, even though she doesn't want it to. So he's trying to just be there a little bit more. The party at the Jewish Community Center looks like a fun one. We get a bagel making montage. Love. And there's
First of
some,
its kind this season. Yeah.
I know, and there is some flirty banter about where to put capers on a,
Mhm.
on a bagel. Do you put it on the cream cheese or on top of the lox? I mean, I'm here for
Her
this
point was well
conversation.
taken that they'll
I
just roll around if you don't kind of bury them down lower on the layers. Yeah.
The script here was just really, I thought, thoughtful throughout the entire movie. Just the way they did these
Mhm.
sort of little things. I thought it was really good. Yeah. They walk through the Lower East Side talking about history and tradition, and he brings up the topic of a matchmaker just to sort of dip his toe in the water
Yeah,
to
do you
see
think
what
that
she
would
thinks about it.
work? Do you believe in
Yeah, what
matchmakers?
do you think?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. And shows her where his new deli will be opening. She gets mad all over again because it is literally a stone's throw from Gilbert's. Or I guess I should say a Latka throw from Gilbert's.
I mean, I would feel some type of way as well.
Ugh,
That's if your deli's already struggling, which why does every business in these movies have to be struggling? Why can't we just have one that's doing well and maybe there's another one that could do better or worse? They're always struggling from the jump,
good
and
point.
then we're adding more conflict onto it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
They unpack what they're really feeling in their letters to one another and then run into each other in the lobby of the apartment building again. She lets him know she's doing a matchmaker and developing feelings for the man she is writing to. Hmm. She's also revealing to him that she's going to do a Chinese and movie night at Gilbert's because they make a joke about what do all the Jewish folks do on Christmas? We get Chinese food and watch movies, which I thought was
Sounds
pretty
great to
clever.
me.
I know, right?
Jewish or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good General Tso's as
Sign
we've
me up.
talked about
Hmm.
when we did Golden Dragon. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, the Chinese movie night at Gilbert's, total success, big hit, right? She tells her family that Jacob is part of the Zimmers family. So she basically has this huge family meeting. And she says, hey, just so you know, Jacob, who you're falling in love with, especially for me, is part of the Zimmers family. And they're coming here to open a deli, right? And they
They're like,
wanted
oh, never
her.
mind, we hate him.
Exactly. They wanted her to initially cancel the matchmaker because they're like, you're already falling in love with Jacob. Why do you need the matchmaker anymore? And now they comedically hate him. Like it's pretty funny the way they react to this.
180 for sure.
Yeah. Jacob drops hints when he sees her in the lobby, and instead of leaving, he has to scramble when his family shows up. So basically, he has set up in these letters like, let's meet, right? So he's basically gonna put it all out there. He wants to
Show his
meet,
cards. Yep.
show his
Hmm.
cards, do the whole thing. Does not anticipate that his family is going to show up because the family has learned that he has not yet signed the paperwork on the new deli. They show up, they want to know what the deal is. They need to come and sort of make their case to him, the whole 9 yards.
Hmm.
He decides to call the restaurant where he's supposed to meet Molly and tells them to tell her that he's going to be late because he basically has to stop by and placate Bubby. Now, during this conversation, I decided that Bubby, the woman who plays her, is absolutely hilarious,
Hmm.
number one, and does a great job of sort of unpacking the family's history and the reasons why they want to be in New York City and blah, 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 blah. It's all about family and the whole 9 yards and the tradition and all that other stuff. And she basically talks some sense into him. I thought this was a really great scene between this woman who played Bubby and her grandson.
It was very sweet. And that actress has been in multiple of these movies in the past, and she's
Oh, has she?
always so good. Yeah. I couldn't tell you right off which ones, but she's been in a bunch. She's great. And this movie had a lot of zany moments to it, but it also was super heartfelt, and you kind of understood the backstory, like you were saying. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this scene. I thought it was sweet.
I thought she had a great line because they're sitting in this hotel lobby and it is decked out for Christmas everywhere. And she says, ugh, what is this basically? And she says, they don't even have a token menorah behind the counter or something like that. I just thought it was
Yeah.
a really kind of funny moment for
That
sure.
was funny.
So Molly looks at pictures of her and Jacob while she is sitting at the table waiting for David, right? Because she's in
I was
love with
also joking.
David.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
But she doesn't know this, of course. And she writes a letter to David, basically letting him off the hook, saying, I'm in love with Jacob, right? And I'm going to go for that. She shows up to the menorah lighting and she proclaims that Jacob is the one. And they sort of take off to find each other. Here
And
we
if
go.
he can't figure out how to get the parents to move the deli, that's okay. It's still he's the one. We're okay.
He's the
And I
one.
thought, great, we're home free, no
We'll figure it out.
problemo.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not so fast. Yeah. So they meet up and he romantically puts a penny in her hand because he had put pennies as David in some of the letters that he had sent her because he found pennies. He thought they were good luck. So it's sort of their their thing, right? So he
Hmm.
puts a penny in her hand to tell her to basically reveal himself to be David, thinking it would be really romantic, and it doesn't really go well. She says trust is gone. She gives him back the penny, and he is super bummed. This was like legitimately, I thought, a pretty sad scene.
Well, they both did a great job, and I enjoyed the fact that he really did lay it all out. It wasn't just some wacky miscommunication and then they part ways. Like he was fighting for it. Like, no, I promise I was gonna tell you, and then this happened. Like he was very passionately making his case, and we know that he has a good heart. We, the viewers, were like, no, just listen to him.
Yeah.
Come on. And I don't always feel that way about these conflicts. So
And I thought
I
this
thought they both did a
actor,
great job.
yeah, this actor did a really good job of sort of conveying the range of emotions because we got him being frantic in this moment. We got him being really sad in this moment. I thought he just sort of did a good job of it being more than just let me plead my case. He actually had some emotional range to him right now, which I
Hmm.
thought was good.
He didn't want to lose it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bubbies are waiting to meet with the matchmaker in what I think is probably one of the funnier scenes of this entire movie because they
They're mad.
basically
They want their money back.
they are mad. They want a refund because it did not work. And this leads to a Bubby Showdown. There are going to be latkes showing up for bragging rights. And so they basically come up with this whole arrangement, and because the matchmaker won't open the door, and so they're forced to sort of talk to each other. Both the women leave, and then Ruth, the matchmaker, opens the door, and she just sort of nods knowingly at the camera, like this is all part of her little
Just wait
matchmaking
for it.
magic. It's
Yeah.
just all happening.
The Bubbies were very West Side Story in this scene. I mean, I thought they were just going to come out.
I know, it's pretty funny.
That
So
I have seen. Not Fiddler
I
on the Roof,
know
but I've seen
it's
West Side Story.
also a good one. The Jets and the Sharks. Instead of
Oh, yeah.
that, we get the Battle of the Bubbies. And we learn that during the process of them sort of making all these latkes, that their moms, these two women, their moms were actually best friends. And the families wind up having the most satisfying of group hugs. And it's just sort of this really heartfelt revelation that they know each other. Their families are closer than they ever thought they were. They share the same recipe for latkes because they can't tell the difference between the two families' recipes. And it's just basically this really, really tender moment. After which Molly and Jacob have their moment by the menorah, kiss to the applause of the families, and the matchmaker proclaims, I've still got it, as she
Hmm.
walks away, and we fade to black.
Very cute. Oh, they did do a flash forward, though.
Oh, yes, we did get a flash forward at the end in which they sort of open a brand new deli named after the Bubbies' moms, who were the best of
Rebecca
friends.
and Sarah's Deli, which this was kind of a Pumpkin Pie Wars moment.
It was,
They
which
consolidated.
I don't know if you saw, but the deli's on a corner, and because they joked about which women's name should be first, on one corner it's Rebecca and Sarah, and on the other corner it's Sarah and Rebecca's.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
I knew they argued about it, and then the picture, my eyes were drawn to the Rebecca and Sarah side, I guess. Oh, that's funny. I like
yeah,
that.
I
I'm
thought it
glad you
was a
caught
good
that.
touch. Yeah.
Okay, it's time for our gold or coal segment where we each give three gifts. If there's more gold, it's a Mazel Tov. More coal, ooh, more. Ooh,
Cut her off.
try again. Okay, time for our gold or coal segment where we each give three gifts. If there's more gold, it's a Mazel Tov. If it's more coal, it's Mazel Not. And if it's a tie, it's just a Merry Christmas. Josh, I'm coming to you first.
Well, I'm going to give gold out of the gate. I loved the attention to detail when it comes to Jewish traditions. It
Mm.
felt like this was legitimately a movie that tried to be as thoughtful about Jewish families and the Jewish family experience at Hanukkah, and not just a Christmas movie that they turned into a Hanukkah movie. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
felt
Mm-hmm.
legitimately true to form, and I thought they did a great job with unpacking the family dynamics that are so often in play, and I just thought that that was a really great thoughtful element.
Yes, I agree. It wasn't like they were just spinning dreidels the whole time and like
Right.
checking off cliches. It was steeped in tradition and all the things we talked about. So I agree with that. My first piece of coal, no, gold, not coal. I can't talk tonight. My first piece of gold is it was funny. It was surprisingly funny in a very realistic and grounded way. I laughed in a lot of their banter throughout the movie. So I'm gonna give them
Hmm.
some gold.
I'm also going to give gold for this character of the doorman, Thomas, who has just this bit role. And in a lot of these movies, these bit roles are played by these actors who are just kind of phoning it in, right? They realize that they're not there to really run the show or be the star. But this guy that they had playing Thomas really did a good job of sort of being in the know and
Hmm.
sort of wanting it to go a certain way. And he sort of strikes up this friendship with Jake as the plot progresses. He actually knows early on in the movie what's happening here because the courier sort of lets it slip and they strike up this deal
Yeah.
where instead of the courier having to show up every day, he's just going to kind of make it happen behind the scenes. And I thought he was just a great add to the characters in this movie.
He was. He did a lot of face acting because the first time you
Mhm.
see him is when Jake and Molly meet, trying to get into his PO box on the bottom
Mhm.
floor or mailbox. And I thought, oh, he doesn't like, he's protective of Molly. He does not like this new guy, Jake, just with what he's doing with his face. But
Mhm.
either that was me reading too much into it, or, which I think it was, or by the end, he really softens up to him and approves of their relationship. Because at first I thought he was going to
Mhm.
sabotage the letters if he didn't approve of Jake.
Yeah.
I
I
thought it
just
easily could have gone down that road.
he did a number of these sorts of things where he sees it happening, he just grabs his coffee and he's just like, "Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm." It was
Yeah,
funny. Yeah.
very good, very good. I will give some gold to the Bubbies. I want a Bubby, just so I can say Bubby all the time. That is so
Please.
fun. These Bubbies were, yes, they overstepped, but like we said, it wasn't too much. It was in a very realistic way. They just care so much about their grandchildren and they want them to be happy. And of course, in all these movies, you have to be happy if you're in a relationship.
Mm,
But that's neither here nor there. I thought the Bubbies did a great job, both of them.
agreed. And I would echo that. I thought all of the actors who played these older characters were just really well cast and did a good job there too. My last piece of gold, I loved the chemistry between these two leads. I believed it. I was here for it. They were enough alike that it worked because they were enough different. And
Hmm.
you sort of got their relationship evolving, and it legitimately felt like they did a good job of sort of showing how characters can not just fall in love because they have things in common, but fall in love because they connect on a soul level. And I love that aspect of this movie.
Hmm. From the similarities of licorice to your ranch tastes, they've got it all taken
It all
care of
works.
there.
Yep.
My last piece of gold was going to be what you just said, so I'm stalling. This will be a all gold runner. Pew pew pew.
Pew 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 pew.
What else
What
would I
else can
say
we
that we
say we
haven't
love?
already said?
The Lisa Loeb cameo. I mean,
That was fun. I liked all the little things she was trying to do to the deli to upgrade it and to kind of bring it current with the jelly donut competition. I love a competition. So that, the latke Bubby Bake Off, all of that. I thought that was really fun and whimsical, but not too over the top. So I was here for all
good.
of that. Lisa Loeb and
Perfect.
all.
So, bottom line, as you heard, we had 6 gold, 0 coal. It is a pew 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 Mazel Tov. I thought when I finished watching this movie, I was like, this is one of, if not my favorite movie we've watched so far this year.
I was so pleasantly surprised because usually the movies later in the season are kind of filler. We're just trying to meet a quota and say that we have this many new movies, but the quality isn't always there. I mean, a lot of times the quality peaks around Thanksgiving, right? And then it kind of tapers off. So I was kind of like, this is going to be just a filler piece, but it was not. From the out of the gate, I was into it. So I was so relieved, so happy that we had to give it all gold. I mean, when's the last time we've done that? Very few times this season.
Yeah. And I will tell you, anytime I see that this is on, I will be sure to flip it on because it is that good and that funny and that heartfelt and legitimately all the feels. So loved it.
Okay. Loved it. And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks to Nick Schwartz for our killer theme song, and of course, to all of you for taking the time to listen to our little podcast. If you like it, be sure to review, subscribe, and tell a friend. Yeah, we're kind of little now, but we want to be kind of bigger, so we want to grow this thing. We're also on Facebook, Instagram at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com, also on Twitter and TikTok, so give us a follow, engage with us, and be sure to check out our website at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com.
Next time, we've got a new one from Lifetime coming your way.
Yes, it is called Wrapped Up in Love. And here is the lowdown from IMDb. Ashley has always been the, quote, Christmas queen in her town. That is until she meets her match in Ben, a handsome new guy who loves Christmas just as much as she does. They join forces to make Christmas even more meaningful.
And I drafted this one, and I'm just going to go ahead and apologize
In
ahead of time.
advance. In advance.
But we will have much to discuss and laugh about along the way. And until then,
May your days be merry and bright. We'll catch you next time.